The Slim Fast 14-day effect on your New Year's resolution. Day 1, the new year. You want to kick it off with a bang, and you're not just talking about fireworks. Day 14, you're ready to start this year right, looking great and preferably on top.
2 weeks is all it takes to get what you really want. Swap 2 meals a day for Slim Fast protein shakes or bars, get in a 30-minute workout, and stick to a 1,200-calorie diet to lose up to 6 pounds in your first 14 days. Find Slim Fast in a store near you.
You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Dean Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AFTERBUZZ TV's Mob Wives After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AFTERBUZZ TV's Mob Wives After Show.
Well, hello, hello, hello. I am your host here, Erika Garcia Rojas, for Mob Wives Season 5, Mob Wives New Blood Season 5, Episode 6, Vegas Part 3. And this is a little bit of a unique episode this week. I am here in the studio solo. The rest of our co-hosts are actually out in Vegas, ironically enough, with the CES conference where AFTERBUZZ is there and getting a lot of exposure, and our co-founder Maria Menounos is actually the ambassador there. It's a huge electronics event, so I'm super excited for them out in Vegas. So I am holding the fort down here in LA in our studios to talk all about our lovely Mob Wives. And this episode overall, I'd have to say it was okay. It wasn't like an amazing episode where a ton of stuff happened, but I think it was one of those episodes that I like to call it like an in-between episode. Kind of things have to get wrapped up and started for a whole new set of drama, per se. So the beginning of this episode, well, first of all, before that, let me backtrack a little bit. I do want to make a little bit of a comment about a lot of the feedback we got from last week's episode. I know it was a little bit all over the place, and we were just excited. Kevin just came back after being gone for a few weeks from Mob Wives. So we want to let you know we heard you loud and clear, and we will work on it and make sure that the episode is much more in order and more about what you're used to. So we will work on that, and I'll do that here tonight as well. Secondly, stay tuned to the end. Stick with me to the end because I have a really fun and exciting and awesome announcement for you guys. We're super, super excited. But I'll announce it at the end of today's episode. Okay, so beginning of the episode takes off from last week and the week before where they're in Vegas, and it starts off with the girls all going to this race car driving thing in Vegas, and you know, everyone's kind of having a good time. They're trying to relax amidst all the drama and do these, actually it looks like a lot of fun, the car rides. They look like actually a lot of fun. I would totally want to do that one day. It's actually been my dream to do a car ride like that. I think it'd be fun. So obviously the women are all having a blast, except for Renee, who is having like a pity party in the corner. And she's feeling sorry for herself. She's upset that all the girls are having fun, and it seems like they're taking sides with Natalie. And Renee's all upset and thinks that their loyalty is now being questioned, and she's questioning their loyalty. And she's just feeling sorry for herself and staying in a corner. And that kind of leads to like the next scene where, you know, Renee kind of, I think she annoyed the women just by her attitude at the car racing. So then, you know, we see them later on at like a shit-talking dinner, per se, where the girls are all just sitting there and talking about Renee. And I think, you know, Carla, what did I say? Carla. Well, that was a flashback. Drita, Big Ange, and Alicia, they're all bonding over this whole episode between Renee and Natalie. And it seems like the three of them are just kind of, you know, they're giving their opinions about the whole thing. They all seem to be siding at this point with Natalie. I think they were a little bit annoyed at Renee and how the whole thing turned out and dragged on out. Something just so stupid as this delicious comment just blew up into a huge snowball effect that really just did not need to happen. And I think at this point, I think they're annoyed. I think they're annoyed at Renee. I think they're annoyed that she's kind of messed up their trip so far. But the women all seem to think the same way. In fact, Drita called Renee a spoiled brat, and Big Ann just didn't seem to be that happy with Renee either. So all the women seem to be pretty annoyed with her at that dinner. And then right after that, we see miracles upon miracles. We see Renee and Natalie making up. Finally, because this whole thing has been dragged on for way too long. I was kind of sick of it, watching it, to be honest, because it was just such a stupid fight that turned into something kind of ugly. And so it looks like Renee, is super, super upset. You see her calling her son AJ, and it's so funny because when she calls AJ, and she's like, "Oh, AJ, I'm so upset." And he's like, "What? What, Mom? Calm down, calm down." It's almost as if like he's used to getting these kind of phone calls from his mom. "Oh, my mom, she's super upset, blah, blah, blah." And he calmed her down. He told her, like, "Don't worry about this. Don't make such a big deal about it," which is, I think, what all of us as viewers and people who like Renee and are rooting for Renee, and they're like, "Dude, Renee, stop giving this girl Natalie so much importance." That's, in my opinion, that's what it looks like that she's doing. Is she's giving Natalie way too much importance. She's giving this guy way too much importance. Just the whole thing. And she needs to just chill out. And I think that's what AJ is just trying to tell her to do. Dude, chill out. So something maybe clicked with her at that moment or whatever after talking to AJ. And then she decided to talk to Natalie, which it was a little bit scary, I'll be honest. When she was like, Natalie, calling Natalie in the house, and it's just the two of them. Everybody's gone, so there's like no one there except the cameraman, obviously, to buffer this fight. And then you see like, "Oh, I want to talk to you," and you're like, "Oh, okay, it looks like Renee's calmed down." And it's interesting because Renee actually did admit to the fact that she did not really remember what actually happened between the fight. So either she was on pills or she blacked out or something, but she acknowledged that she didn't really remember what happened, and she tried to kind of put the blame on both sides, like, "Oh, we both thought we were responsible for escalating." And now he's like, "No way, like, I know you're trying to apologize, but I'm not going to let you kind of push over me like that." And we do see, and all the women are also seeing, that Natalie is kind of a force to be reckoned with. She's not somebody, she might be like the new girl on campus and all that, but she's not some little ninny that can be walked over. And I think she's holding her ground. I do think all the other women respect her for it. And I think Renee's, learning that about her too. And, Renee says, she wanted to apologize for kind of letting the whole thing get too far. She acknowledges in her, direct to camera that she did, that she was wrong for, putting Natalie in a headlock and, using physical force against her. And that, she even admitted, this is what I thought was interesting. Renee even admitted that it was the worst version of herself, and that she flushed all her pills and everything down the toilet. So and for you guys watching, I'm here by myself and just watched the episode. So if you guys have comments, definitely comment below. And if you're watching us on YouTube and stuff, we love reading those comments. But it looked like she's kind of admitting that she was using the pills again or not, or maybe she held on to them just in case she needed them. Whatever it was, she acknowledged that she had those pills and she flushed them down the toilet. So that's a little worrisome, because I was hoping that she was totally sober from the pills. I know she acknowledged that she was up until then drinking and not using pills, but I don't know, little gray area for me. So if any of you guys have any more insight, then comment below. But anyway, so and then Natalie also acknowledged, and she said, she's like, I feel like I got betrayed. I feel like, I looked up to Renee, I respected Renee, and I feel betrayed in the whole scenario. She just felt that she was being disrespected and all that. And, my take on this whole dilemma and this whole delicious thing that got way out of proportion, it was just something that happened that I think that Renee reacted to, and Natalie not being kind of a pushover, Natalie just being the kind of person that always feels the need to just really stand up for herself, as most people do and should. she didn't back down. And then she also, though, and we talked about this last week, and some people agreed, some people didn't. I feel that Renee and Natalie did push Renee's buttons. Like, she knew where to get her and push her, which kind of did escalate the fight a little bit more. If Natalie would have just chilled out or whatever, I think Renee would have gotten over it, kind of like what she did here in this case. But I think she would have gotten over it and been whatever. But no, Natalie wanted to stand her ground. And I think, in retrospect, I think it was a good thing because now she's set herself up as someone to not be messed with, you know, amongst the other girls. And now, and even Drita during this whole process, I think respects her more. Big Ange, I think all the women kind of feel like, okay, we got it. You know, she might be like, you know, the face of mob candy and all that, but she's, you know, she's someone not to be messed with, and that was definitely made clear by Natalie. So, anyways, the women all made up. They all come back from, the other women come back from dinner, and they're all super excited because Natalie and Renee are now made up. So now they can move on with the trip, have fun, have a nice night, where they go out to a strip club where Natalie, definitely, like as Drita says, she did dress kind of like a stripper. But you know what? It was theme, right? She was going to a strip club, so maybe, you know, she thought we should wear that unitard, and it was kind of stripper-esque. Like Drita said, like 1985. I thought that was funny. She called her Nasty Nat, and she was kind of nasty in the scene. But she was having fun. I don't know. It was funny to see them. Anyways, it was good that they were all like making up and all that. Okay, so now they're done. They're done in Vegas. And we see them now back, and things, you know, pick up from the trip. And then we see the women kind of resume their normal lives. But before I get into that real quickly, I do want to take a second to give a shout out to Slim Fast. And we're talking about it here at AfterBuzz. Here at the new year, it's always a good time to kind of restart or, you know, double look at your diet and how you're doing. And Slim Fast is really cool in that, you know, you can drink a shake for breakfast, one for lunch, and have a dinner. And I think they say that you can lose, like in 2 weeks, you can lose like 7 pounds or something like that. So, yeah, so two weeks is all it takes to get what you want with Slim Fast. So check it out. All right. And the podcast is being brought to you by Slim Fast. So, okay. Now moving on to back to the episode. So the women are all back from Vegas. Real life resumes. First off, we see Drita having a phone discussion with Lee about the fact that she lost like $8,000 in Vegas, which was the money that she had saved up to potentially open up a second makeup store location. I don't know about that. Like, I feel like I am a little disappointed in Drita. I mean, she had fun in Vegas, but like losing $8,000, like that takes a lot of time to lose that amount of money. And I'm imagining that they had a lot of time there in Vegas. I think they were there for like 4 days, which is a long time to be there. I mean, as many of you who've been to Vegas, you know, it's like 1 night or 2 nights is max. So she probably spent a lot of time during the day as they were like, girls were fighting or whatever, just at the tables, I'm imagining, and just playing a lot. And yeah, she lost that money, which kind of sucks. I guess she's, you know, maybe a gambler or had issues with that or whatever. So she tells Lee, and you know that she's been avoiding that, which I could totally see why. Lee is, I mean, we've never really had the chance to meet Lee. And he sounds pretty harsh on the phone. I understand why he's upset, but like, dude, the way that he calls her and the things that he calls her, what does he call her? A dick, which is kind of weird to call your wife. But, and then like, he calls her degenerate, and I don't know, he just sounds really, really mean. So I don't blame her for not wanting to tell him. I'd be scared. I'd be scared if I were her. But one thing I was wondering is like, well, I mean, I know they're married and all that, but was it her money that she made? I'm assuming it is, because I would imagine that he probably doesn't have much after being in jail and all that. So I don't know. I mean, I know she's upset about it. I would be upset, but I don't know. His reaction was kind of mean. Yeah, and it was just weird how he called her a dick. I thought that was weird. So anyways, we see that, and we're like, uh-oh, trouble in paradise. But I don't know. Maybe we'll see that being reconciled later on. And then the rest of the episode is really just devoted to, oh, no. Also, we do see Natalie in her funeral home. And, you know, it's kind of we've heard about it. Oh, yeah, Natalie's family owns a funeral home, blah, blah, blah. But we don't really get a sense, like her relationship with it or how much she's works there. And we do see now that it looks like that's her job. Like, that's what she does, is she runs that funeral home. I believe she said her grandfather owns it, and she's going to be inheriting it one day. And, you know, I think they strategically put this scene in here to kind of round out who Natalie is. We were introduced to her as a person who is kind of like a model for Renee's line. Oh, she's a face of Renee's line, and you just get the sense that, okay, you know, she has this boyfriend. You don't get the that she's a serious businesswoman. She mentioned she has a child, and so now you kind of get to see that side of Natalie. And I think it's good to see that. You know, I think her character is going to develop throughout the season. It is important that they show this. She's new. She's the new blood. And Alicia gets a lot of FaceTime because of everything that's going on with her and her situation. And, you know, so far it's Natalie's, the time we've seen of her has just been fighting with Renee, which it doesn't give the best impression. So it's good because you can see her, she's working, she's got this job. This is more of her life, her commitment, and, you know, what she's all about. All right, so now, like I said, the rest of the episode is mainly talking about Alicia and her situation with her husband, which, that's a pretty testing situation. We see her with her son and helping him pack for college. And they talk a little bit about, you know, Eddie's, you know, they're waiting for Eddie's sentencing and to see, you know, what's going to happen. And, you know, Alicia acknowledges that I focus more on my husband's sentencing because I don't want to deal with the fact that I am next in the chopping block. Like, after what's decided about him is going to be decided about me. And I think she's taking it and handling it extremely well. She's really strong. I can't imagine if I was in that situation that I would be so strong and just so put together, because it looks like, and she does talk about this to Renee later on, and she's like, you know, I have to put up that emotional wall in a way. I can't let it get to me. I have to be strong for my boys. And I think she is. One thing I do find interesting is that, you know, given the fact that she's going through this entire situation, that she agreed to be on the show in general. I mean, this is pretty hardcore. And it's a major impact on her life and her son's life, and also having that entire process on camera in front of, you know, millions of people. It's an interesting decision on her part. I don't know if that's something I'd want to expose to the world. That part, that's a very sensitive part. But, you know, it makes for good TV, and, you know, we get to know her and the whole situation a little bit more. But, yeah, so, you know, she's dealing with this whole thing. And then there's a little bit of a debate as to whether, like, was she really that naive when she married Eddie? Was she that naive not to know who he was, what he came from? And Big Ange is saying, like, you know, I don't think she's that naive. And Renee is saying, well, no, I do. I mean, you know, that happened to my mom and blah, blah, blah. So I'm kind of on Big Ange's side. Alicia to me seems like a pretty sharp woman. I think she had some idea. Maybe she was, you know, a little bit in La La Land, a little bit. But I do think she must have had some sense of what was going on. And it does seem like that's kind of the debate going on with the women, you know, whether Alicia really knew what was happening or not. And so we see, you know, Alicia's like super nervous, waiting for the sentencing and all that. And she's trying to get a hold of the lawyer. And, you know, we do see her later on. She's having dinner or lunch with Renee. And she pretty much tells her, like, oh, my God, I found out that it's being postponed. which I think was her biggest fear. And Big Ann said it too, like she related to the situation. It happened to her. She's like, this is the worst period of time when you're waiting for this because you just don't know. And Eddie is, confined and can't, he's there waiting for this decision. And not only in this case are they waiting for the decision for Eddie, but they're still gonna have to wait for the decision for Alicia. I cannot imagine what she's going through. Everything. I mean, it just seems like the worst situation. And so we see the fact that the decision is gonna be delayed, and Alicia, they just have to wait and see. And yeah, so that's pretty much the interview. That's pretty much the episode recapped in a nutshell. I think it was good. Like I said, I think it's more of a transitional episode. I think there's going to be a lot of things that's going to be happening. So we got some predictions. Ooh, I get the music too. Ooh.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
So we see the scenes for next week's episode, and it was kind of annoying because they're alluding to the fact that this whole situation between Natalie and Renee is just not done. This long, drawn-out fight that they have with the whole delicious thing is just not over. It looks like they're still fighting. It looks like Renee's still mad at Natalie. I don't know. So we're going to see more of that. One thing I want to point out that I did think was funny was when they were having brunch in Vegas after that night at the strip club. And then she said something like, oh, how's this pineapple? She's like, it's delicious. I thought that was funny. But so we see that happening. And then also, it looks really interesting that there's something that comes out in the tabloids about like them saying something about Alicia out and partying and all that. And so Alicia looks like she's pretty upset about that. She thinks one of the women leaked that information. Obviously, we see Renee upset. Of course I wouldn't leak. Blah blah blah. So yeah. So that's it for next week's episode. And I do have, like I said, I have a really special, exciting announcement. So, and thank you for sticking with me by myself solo for this whole episode. So thank you. On Monday, we are going to have the one and only Renee Graziano here in the AfterBuzz studio. Woo-hoo, I'm so excited. So she's going to be here. We're going to interview her. So make sure that you guys tweet me questions. Tweet me whatever questions you want to ask. We're gonna, answer the viewers' questions. My Twitter is IamEGR. That's IamEGR. And yeah, so tweet me. The interview is supposed to happen on Monday at 6 o'clock Pacific time. But if that time changes for any reason, I will update on my Twitter. So make sure to follow me on Twitter, on Instagram. And you guys, thank you so much for sticking here with me. Everybody's going to be back next week. I won't, unfortunately. I'm actually going to be in Vegas for a work thing, but everyone else is going to be back. And make sure you go onto iTunes, rate us, comment us, 5 stars, hopefully. YouTube, same thing, like this video below. We love your comments. We love your feedback. We're huge here on your comments and your feedback at AfterBuzz. And yeah, so that's it. So I am your host, Erika Garcia Rojas, and thanks so much, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later, bitches! Woo!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.